Hey everybody, Cal here. So, we're doing a special thing today where we're going to have 3 videos come out in rapid fire. This one, pardon me, as soon as this one's uploaded, I'm going to start recording the episode that I wanted to do today, which is I'm going to play a viewer suggested Songhai deck. I told him I would be playing it today, so it's definitely coming out. But that one needs a little more preparation. I got to learn the deck a little bit more before I feel comfortable trying to show you guys it. And then tomorrow's episode will probably come out sometime early in the morning. Now, I've always in my history of trading card games been a control player. Hard control. I just love control, but I love interactions with the graveyard and or minions dying. So the deck that we had been using, Destiny, it was okay, but the problem was, as you can see, my version above it is far less spells, way more minions. So the issue I was having with Destiny, I was kind of stuck in like rank 4 diamond. Normally I'm a rank 2 diamond player, and I couldn't get up to 3. And I feel like there's just so many spells here and minions that don't really need to be here. Consuming Rebirth is great, but it's not amazing. It only really hits a couple things in the deck. You can hit Sarlacc to get a second Sarlacc, and you can hit the Vorpal Reaver to get more of them. To trigger the spawning of the Wraithlings and then getting another one. But there's a lot of cards that in our hand are usually pretty useless, whereas cards that we need, we don't always have, such as Ritual Banishing is a card that we need when we need it, we really need it, and it wasn't in our hand enough. So what I've done is I've taken my style, I wish it didn't go all the way back out, and I've made a more controlling deck. And so far it's worked out really, really well. It has a lot of late game. It definitely has a lot of late game. But the main issue, or the main thing here, is we have these 10 early game minions, as well as Darkfire Sacrifice. So we're able to get out our late game faster. Sarlacc might be cuttable, to be honest, but he is a really good Darkfire Sacrifice target. And we do have a lack of Grasp of Agony, which is something that I didn't actually mean to do. Well, I'm not really sure what would be cuttable yet. But that probably is something that I would want to think about. So we'll see how the deck performs. So far the deck's doing very well. But I'll go ahead and go over it. So we still have 3 Dark Fires to help us ramp out our big stuff fast. 3 Gloom Chasers, 3 Healing Mystics, 3 Jaxies, and a Primus Fist make up our early game so that we can make sure we have a solid start. 3 Nart Sorrow Assassins, because I think this card is amazing. 2 Ritual Banishings, because with the Sarlacc, with the Wraithlings we get, usually it's worth us sacrificing something to take out a minion. 1 Sarlacc the Eternal for the synergy with Dark Sacrifice and Ritual Banishing, etc. Blood Moon Priestess, because we do still want Wraithlings. Wraithlings do help us a lot. They're also really good for countering artifacts, because they all just kind of charge in. I threw 1 Breath of the Unborn in here as a one-of, because since we have a lot of big stuff, it's a way for us to clear the opponent's early game minions or little minions that they're playing in the middle or to late game, as well as then restore our big stuff to full health. 3 Ammo Rejuvenators, again, because we need to stick around. We need the health right now. Songhai is really prevalent. Face Abyssian is really prevalent. And Lionar has always been like an aggressive control deck, so I feel like these are a must. 2 Black Soulless. The reason why I kept Black Soulless in here, even though I got rid of, what's that spell called? Let me pull it up here. Wraithling Swarm, is because I found that most of the time I was comboing Black Soulless with either Blood Moon Priestess or with the Vorpal Reaver. I wasn't necessarily comboing it with the Wraithling Swarm. So Black Soulless still gets lots of value. 1 Dark Transformation for some hard removal. 1 Keeper, because we do have a lot of big stuff. 1 Other Summoning. It's basically a Keeper, but better, I found out. You almost always get more bang for your 5 mana. 2 Reapers of the 9 Moons. 2 Shadow Dancers. 2 Archon Spellbinders. 2 Vorpal Reavers. And a Spectral Revenant. Brings up our late game. So our curve is really kind of flat all the way across, but so far this deck has worked really good. It is winning in Diamond. I'm still in rank 4. I've only played a couple matches with it while I was tweaking it around, and it's going pretty well. I do think the main issue is that we don't have the Grasp of Agony in here. Um, but I can't think of what I would possibly cut for it. I mean, we can maybe cut 1/2 drop. And other than that, I don't know. I don't think it's worth just being a 1-of, but it might actually be worth being a 1-of. We can go ahead and pop that in. Primus Fist isn't super great. You would think you'd be good with all the Blood Moon since it's already a 1-of anyways. Might as well cut it back, but I feel like having the early game minion is more useful. So I'm not too sure. This is something we'll have to see. I would rather have maybe a second one. But as of right now, I think this list is fine. 9 early drops isn't too bad. I still am not entirely sure if we really need this Grass of Agony. Well, whatever. Right now, it's not in the deck, so instead of me changing it on the fly, I'll deal with that. I'll deal with that in the future, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and jump to a replay and kind of show you guys the deck working. It is a much longer game than the last time I did a deck tech, so it's going to show you more of how the deck handles stuff, and I'll see you in the replay. Alright, here we are. So we are going first against Lionar. Rabenta Caroxis. Man. He has Lionar ribbon. We have no Abyssian ribbons, so hopefully he has the morale advantage. I went ahead and just kept this hand because we got 2 early drops and we have a Vorpal Reaver, which if possible we want to try to ramp into early. I mean, yes, if he Sunblooms it, that would really suck for us, or if he Martyrdoms it, at least we would get healed and we would also get 9 Wraithlings. If he Sunblooms it, it's still a 6/6, so it's not too bad. But against Lionheart is weak. Now, we are drawing pretty poorly here. We don't want Emerald Rejuvenators this early on in the game at all. I've also learned that if you put your mouse a little below the portraits, it just puts on all the stats. So that's very useful. Not while something's moving, though. Silverguard Knight. This is fine for us to see early if we can draw a Night Sorrow Assassin. Sadly here, I mulligan one of the Rejuvenators and I don't get an Assassin. So what I do instead is run my Mystic down and just do 2 damage to the Silver Hand, is that what it's called? Silver Guard, and then heal that health back up with the Rejuvenator. So our board state is pretty good. He could technically walk up and then Holy Nova, but it'd only be killing one thing and it'd be his whole turn, so I wasn't really too worried about that happening. Our hand is looking pretty freaking sweet though, I gotta say. Honestly, I think the Black Solaces might actually be cuttable. I'm sorry, I'm kind of backtracking. I mean, if we were to think about a scenario where we put in the Grass of Agony, Black Solace would most likely be what we cut. But I think right now, there aren't too many decks that are swarming, so I don't think it's super necessary. So its board state again isn't too bad. My main concern here was that I didn't want to waste the Night Sorrow Assassin just on this, since I can't. She can't assassinate the Zealot because it has the +2 attack bonus. And I didn't want to just waste her on 1 damage, but I didn't have a very good turn here at all. So I'm going to go ahead and just kill the Knight and heal myself for 2 and just go without spending 2 mana. So our opponent does have the advantage against us now, but where we shine is mid and late game because we start dropping big threat after big threat. That's kind of how my version of the deck is designed to work, is you just keep dropping threats after threats after threats and force them to have to respond to those. And hopefully they can't. So Twilight Sorcerer came out, and I'm really, really glad that I went ahead and held on to the Night Sorrow Assassin, since she's going to be able to basically do 6 damage entering the battlefield, which is amazing for us. So I can go ahead and finish off the Zealot. I'm not too worried about taking damage now that we have the Rejuvenators in the deck. And I'm just going to do a nice diagonal line here to try and keep our opponent from having too good of a target for Holy Immolation if he felt it was necessary. Even if you don't have a board that really feels like it would get Holy Immolated, you still want to make sure that you don't play into it. So that's why I go for the diagonal whenever possible. Diagonal's also good if you're fighting like Magmar, so that Mechantor War Beast only gets so many things. The only time diagonal is bad is if you're fighting Vitruvian now, because since they're kind of forced into Dervish Tribal, Star's Fury does punish a diagonal setup, since it puts minions in front of everything, or no, hiccups, in front of everything. Now, our hand here isn't amazing. I want to keep the Wraithling around as a sacrifice, so I kind of just want to run it to safety, but at the moment there's not too much I can do. His board isn't too threatening though, so I'm going to go ahead and drop down Archon Spellbinder. It's going to force him to either run minions into it to kill it or martyrdom it. And yes, if he does martyrdom, he gets more tempo than us, but we basically get a full heal out of it. Or we do get a full heal out of it. and it cost him mana. So that's fine in my opinion. I think that's an okay trade. Another Zealot comes out, so we're not looking too pretty at the moment, to be honest. This is down to 2 health. This is a chance where I could have ran the Wraithling up and hit the Zealot and then just AoE'd. But I don't want to do that because then if I play the Assassin, she's not getting good value. So I went ahead and just hard cast the Revenant, do some damage to him, take out his Zealot, and now he's kind of surrounded. I mean, the Wraithling isn't really a threat, so having it blocking one of his ways to travel isn't really stopping anything or threatening him. But it's still, you know, just to have that presence and make him realize that I can put stuff anywhere I want as of right now, and it's going to make him have to decide if he wants to come closer to me or back off. I believe here he actually does Tempest to clean off my board, but it does lower him even more, which is going to force him to fall back, if I remember correctly. So there's the Tempest. Then he plays the Keeper. And I can't remember what he gets out of the Keeper. I think another Zealot. Yeah, and there's the Zealot. So our board, once again, isn't brilliant. Sadly, the Keeper I can go ahead and just assassinate right here, and then I play the Rejuvenator behind me to get some health. The reason I played it behind me is because I already really couldn't play it anywhere that was super safe. You can argue, actually this might have been a better place, but no matter where I played it, if he stepped over 1 and played a minion here, Holy Nova would have hit everything anyways. So my main goal was to just have the Rejuvenator somewhere to force him to have to come closer to me. He did sadly have a way to deal with my board, and he has another Keeper, which is very unfortunate for us. So this board is very good for him. This is another one of the reasons why I don't necessarily feel like Aggressive Agony needs to be shoved in here, because it doesn't necessarily always kill minions once you get past the early game. It's more of a recover your tempo if your early game was bad card. Now here was a mistake. I went ahead and played the Archon Spellbinder again to get a big threat on the board. That's kind of how this deck works, and to force him to have to deal with it. But what I probably should have done is played this Primus Fist over here, because again it would force him to have to walk over here and cast a minion here in order to Holy Nova, instead of to Holy Immolate, instead of being able to just Holy Immolate right here. It's okay for us though, because with what he has, even if he does Holy Immolation, he can't kill this minion without sacrificing 2 minions, and he doesn't seem willing to do that, which in the long run might have been the wrong choice, because he is going to end up letting this survive, and it's going to be able to trade very, very well. Now, I really wanted to throw down a Vorpal Reaver, but he hasn't really given me a chance for that yet. This is going to kill one of his minions and fully heal one of mine. Just because my health was getting a little low, I still went ahead and used the Spellbinder to kill the Keeper, because it's still going to have 6 health. And Lionar is very far away, so his burst is going to be very limited. The only problem here would be if he dropped, like, say, a Ironcliff Guardian and then Holy Immolated it, but we would still have an 8/6 on the board and whatever this stole from his deck. So it's not too bad to see. And there's the Ironcliff Guardian. I was kind of hoping that he would do something that would kill this so that I could Nether Summon it back. But he doesn't. Instead, he throws down the Lions and retreats even further. Now, in my opinion, this was a big mistake by him. I only have 12 health left. His general needs to be closer, so that way if I deal with what he's doing, he can reinforce closer to me. So instead, I'm able to start gaining health and dealing damage here by killing these Lions. And then I go ahead and just start making a diagonal across the map. I didn't want to overcommit just in case he had another Tempest, so I held back this Gloom Chaser to try to combo with the Black Solace, since I haven't been able to get the Vorpal Reaver combo off. So he does a lot of thinking here. The main thing he needs to do is kill this. Now the only issue is with what I did here is if he walks down and Holy Immolates on this lion, it's a giant clear. So that's rather unfortunate that everything spawned in the way that it did. I probably should have moved my stuff around a little bit, but I couldn't really do that because of the provoke, so it kind of forced me into this formation. Maybe I should have played the Shadow Dancer somewhere else. Maybe like over here. But in the end, pardon me, in the end, he just has a lot of good... Holy Immolation is just going to get him a lot of value right now. And again, I think that's exactly what he does right here. Am I saying again a lot? I feel like I'm saying again a lot. And he's only got 4 mana left after this. He can come over and hit me if he wants to, but that's okay. I'm down to 9 health though, which isn't great. I need to try to recycle cards. There's the Arclight Regalia, but he's so far away that it's not really going to be a problem. We're going to have time to start reacting to what he's doing. I cast this hoping to get some good targets, and I did get the I did get this back, so that's great. 2 minions are going to die and give me 2 Wraithlings, and we stole one of his Twilight Sorcerers, which has been great for us, so he can't get yet another Holy Immolation. I killed one of the Wraithlings hoping to get something closer to him, and then I went ahead and threw this down. Tempest here wouldn't necessarily be too much of a problem because we have a lot of big, hefty minions on the battlefield. But the reason I wanted to start spawning a lot of stuff near him was because Arclight Regalia, I'm assuming you guys know, if you don't, it gives your general +2 attack, and then the first time you take damage, the general takes damage on each person's turn. It prevents 2. So by having lots of Wraithlings here, we can run them into the Arclight Regalia to start doing damage to it, while also replenishing our own Wraithlings with the Bloodmoon Priestess. Now this, I think, might have been a mistake, that he didn't kill the Bloodmoon Priestess and gave me a lot of health. I could be wrong, though. I guess he does have a limited amount of martyrdoms now, since we took one of his Twilight Sorcerers. We have a lot of good options in our hand right now. But we can kill this, and we'll get lots of Wraithlings from it, because we have 5 damage right here in little minions. So go ahead and take this out. Then I pull her back to try to force him to either run backwards or... to force him to either have to run back to deal with her or get closer to me. He can't just do both. I didn't attack with this Wraithling because since the Wraithling only has 1 attack and it's the only thing that would have hit him this turn, it would have just blocked the damage and nothing would have happened. So I just kind of used it to box him in a little bit. So he's forced to only cast minions right here, or cut a hole and play minions again. So now we're starting to kind of swarm our way over the Lionar, and our health has balanced out. I personally love fighting Lionar, no matter what deck I'm playing, because I love playing decks where there's lots of big threats at the very end, except for my Magmar deck. My Magmar deck is kind of aggressive. For those of you that haven't seen it, you'll see it soon enough, probably in the next 2 days. I'll go back to making some videos with my Magmar deck, especially once the ladder resets. I'll probably be using it to climb because it is pretty fast, but I'm not playing Agromar. Again, I kind of play decks my own style. Yeah, so he does a lot of thinking here. Now, sadly, what ends up happening, I'll probably just end the replay, is I don't know if he just got frustrated and gave up, or if something happened in real life and he had to walk away from the computer. But at this point in time, he ends up just... I keep getting hiccups. I apologize. He ends up just doing nothing at all. I'm going to continue just so you can see some of the combo that we have left. Also, the reason why I did this at the end of my turn was because we had nothing to lose. I just sacrificed a Wraithling. I got another Wraithling back immediately. And now the next minion we summon will cost 2 less, since it's not at any point, it's at any point in time. So here's when I start just going at it. Every time something dies, he's going to be taking damage. I threw down the Black Soulless. I should have done that earlier. But now every time something dies, we'll get a Wraithling and Black Soulless will get +2/+2, which is one of the reasons why I want to keep them in the deck. I think at the moment, Aggressive Agony isn't super important. And right about here, I realized that I could have just killed him with the Vorpal Reaver. So I think I just attack with that to finish the game. And that's game. We actually ended at 25 HP from 9. There you go. So I call this deck Take That, or Take This. I can't remember what I call it. Because, I don't know, I like Phoenix Wright. It's a cool thing. I give it my seal of approval. I give any deck a pink. Any deck that has proven that it can win in Diamond League, I go ahead and I give a pink mark, just so I know if I'm looking at decks to make a video which ones I have faith in. But yeah, so that's my version. It's a little more minion focused because I personally like minions. I think it's great. I hope you guys think it's great. I hope you aren't bored of seeing Abyssian again. Like I said, High Time. We will be playing that on the next episode, which should be later tonight, early tomorrow morning, Pacific Standard Time. And I'll see you guys in the next video.